How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about Green Bay Packers safety Darnell Savage and whether or not he could have a bounce back year in 2023. So firstly, I wanted to state the very obvious. We all know last year was not a good year for Darnell Savage, and he had a really bad 2022 campaign, to say the least. It was his lowest graded PFF year by far, with a 47.5 overall PFF grade, which was 10 points lower than his 2021 season, which was also not that great. He was the 68th ranked and the lowest graded safety in the entire NFL with qualifying snaps, 4 spots lower than former Packers safety Adrian Amos, who is now with the Jets, and 1 spot lower than new Packers safety Jonathan Owens, who they signed this offseason from the Texans. His 2022 grade included a 56.2 run defense grade, 41.6 tackle grade, and 43.6 coverage grade. Savage also had his highest missed tackle rate in his entire career at 18.8%, and also played the least amount of snaps in his entire career since entering the league in 2019, with only 819 snaps, 159 less snaps than his rookie season. All whilst being rotated around that defense the most he's ever had in his entire career, 200 plus snaps in the box, 200 plus snaps from the slot, and 350 plus snaps at deep safety. Since entering the league as a first-round draft selection in 2019, Darnell Savage has never been too great in coverage as a safety, but the last 2 years have been completely abysmal, allowing over a 100 passer rating in 2021 and last year in 2022. And overall, we can say Darnell Savage has certainly not lived up to his expectations as a first-round draft selection. He had a decent year as a rookie. 2020 was definitely his best year, where we started to think, okay, Darnell Savage could turn into one of the better safeties in the league. Then he dropped a bit in 2021, didn't have a hot year, and last year was definitely his worst year. Recently, when interviewed, Darnell Savage was asked about his outlook on the upcoming season. "I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Like right now," Savage said via the team's website. "Anxious. Had a long offseason to kind of think about last year. Had this kind of bad taste in my mouth for the longest time, so I'm ready to get it out." So it does seem like Savage is super motivated and ready to move forward and put last year's season behind him. And now more than ever, the Packers are going to need quality production from that safety room after moving on from their anchor at safety, Adrian Amos, this season. It is a big question mark in that safety room, a room that currently consists of 8 players. Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, John Owens, Tarvarius Moore, Anthony Johnson Jr., Ennis Gaines, Donald Levitt, and Benny Sapp. Now, likely 4 or 5 of those 8 players will make the 53-man roster, and Darnell Savage will be one of them. At this point, he is a roster lock. The Packers accepted his 5th-year option last year, and they're going to be paying him $7.9 million against the cap regardless, unless they were to trade him. But that means a team would have to take on that $7.9 million, and no team's going to do that. And cutting him wouldn't save the Packers any money anyways, so Darnell Savage is here to stay for at least 2023. Now, early this offseason during Packers OTAs and minicamp, he has been the starting safety next to Rudy Ford in every single practice. So it seems like Darnell Savage will definitely still get his opportunity at safety in 2023, and the Packers still have belief behind him. Now we ask the question, can Darnell Savage have a bounce back year and return to his former self, that 2020 Savage we were used to seeing? And it all starts with, how can Joe Barry utilize Darnell Savage the best? And in my opinion, you have to let Savage be himself, that speedy, aggressive safety he was coming out of Maryland. Packers defensive back coach Ryan Downard had this to say about Savage. "I think Darnell's best when he pulls the trigger and he lets it all hang out." Downard said, "He's got to trust himself," which I 100% agree. That is definitely Darnell's game. It seems like when he hesitates, that's when he starts to struggle. "Just going out there and letting loose," Savage said of the approach he must take. "I feel like sometimes I'm a little too smart and I overthink things." That's definitely a big thing as a defensive back in the NFL. If you overthink things and don't let your actual abilities play for you, you're not going to play up to your fullest potential. Savage then went on saying this about being benched late last season. "I never shy away from any experiences or life lessons or anything like that," he said. "I looked at this as, I'm going to come out better on the other side, and thinking back on it, it was tough. Because I still have to come in here, I still have to be a good teammate, I still have to do everything the right way. It was tough, you learn a lot about yourself, so maybe I needed that." So it's great to see Savage taking accountability. He understands why he got benched, what he has to fix, and what he has to change going into this 2023 season. And it's great to see he's super motivated. I myself have been a huge Darnell Savage supporter since the moment he was drafted. He actually grew up about 20 minutes away from where I am now. I have multiple friends who knew him in high school. He went to high school very close to me, and then of course going to Maryland College, and still pretty close to me. So I was a huge supporter of Darnell Savage the moment the Packers drafted him, and I've wanted him to succeed ever since. So I really hope he has a bounce back year because this Packers defense needs it. He seems fully ready to be himself and let his true ability shine and get after it in 2023. This is a super young defensive back room entering the 2023 season. The oldest safeties on the roster are Rudy Ford and Don Levitt, both at 28 years old. So Savage certainly has the opportunity to take charge as a leader and a veteran at this point, having the most career snaps on defense than any other player in that safety room. And as I said earlier, they just have to let Darnell Savage be Darnell Savage. I know that's easier said than done, but we know what Savage is capable of. We knew what player we were drafting out of Maryland in 2019, and he's shown flashes of that player, sometimes even better than the player he was at Maryland. So he definitely has. I think he has to be put in the right situations for whatever defense they're running and truly be allowed to let himself play. That was a big argument last year for all defensive backs with Joe Barry's scheme. They weren't really allowed to play. We saw time and time again the Green Bay defense in soft zone on 3rd and 3 and basically allowing the other team to get a first down. So the Packers need to allow, and Joe Barry, they need to allow these defensive backs to play to their strengths and play their game. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think Darnell Savage has a chance to have a bounce back year in 2023? Just let me know down below. I also wanted to remind you guys, I just released my new merchandise store for channel merchandise as well as Packer related merchandise. I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. Definitely go check that out. I added a lot more items than just t-shirts, sweatshirts, and like that. I added stickers, towels, posters, you name it. There's a bunch of stuff and new stuff on my merch store, so definitely go check that out. It'll be down in the description below. It's super fast production times, fast shipping, and some really cool designs. And also, if you're a new viewer here, go down, click the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And then also leave a like on the video. But that about does it for this one. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack.